Sing for me, my angel of music, the famous words of a haunting phantom who roams over the stage and desires the love of his darling, Christine. My name is Misaki, and I bring you the story of Phantom of the Opera. There is not really much to know about Phantom of the Opera and the Fate universe, but since we're here, I might as well go over some few things. As you do know, on the first time on this channel, we have not a person from any source of mythology, nor any sorts of historical facts. In fact, we have a novel! Woo woo! Read, kids, it's good for you. Anyway, on to the explanation. Normally, he is indeed a gentleman-like. However, he is not a true gentleman, but merely playing the part. Great sorrow and hatred are written beneath his mask. He is aware of that. Once the start overflowing of his emotions, tragedy will occur. He becomes emotionally attached to his master while saying, "What a wonderful, lovely voice." He's confusing his master for the songstress of his past. He wishes for the Holy Grail, for the songstress that I guided to receive the greatest honor in the world. Therefore, he will probably care for his master more than anything. The Phantom of the Opera is a novel by the French writer Gaston Leroux, and it was published as a serialization Legalois on September 28, 1909 to January 8, 1910. It was published in volume form in late March 1910 by Pierre Lafayette. The novel is partially inspired by historical events at the Paris Opera House during the 19th century, and an apocryphal tale concerning the use of a former ballet pupil's skeleton in Clara Maria von Weber's 1841 production of Der Verschwitz. It has been a successful adaptation to various stage and film adaptations, most notable which were the 1925 film depiction featuring Lon Chaney and Andrew Lloyd Webber in 1986 musical. The story takes place in 1921. The Palais Garnier is believed to be haunted by the entity known as the Phantom or the Opera Ghost. One day, the stagehand Joseph Baquet is found hanged, presumably by the Phantom, after boosting about him to the Corps de Ballet. At the same time, Christine Daae, a young Swedish soprano, has been tutored by what she believes to be the angel of music, sent by her deceased father. On the night of the gala performance of the old manager's retirement, Christine is called upon to sing the place of the opera's leading soprano, Glorietta, who is ill, and her performance is astonishing success. In the vignettes, Raoul Dicchenghi, who is presented at the performance, recognizes her as his childhood playmate and recalls his love for her. He attempts to visit her backstage, where he hears a man speaking to her from the inside of the dressing room. He investigates the room once Christine leaves, to only find there's no one else inside the room. In Prios Cursit, Christine meets Raoul, who confronts her about the voice he heard in her room. Christine tells him about the angel that has been tutoring her, but he is skeptical and suggests that she might be the victim of a prank. Hurt and angry, she storms off. Christine visits her father's grave one night, where a mysterious figure appears and plays a violin for her. Raoul tends to confront it, but is attacked and knocked out in the process. Back at the Palais Garnier, the managers receive a letter from the Opera Ghost, demanding that they allow Christine to perform the lead role of Mariette in Faust, and that Box 5 to be empty for his use, lest they perform in the house with a curse on it. Managers ignore his demands, resulting in disastrous consequences. Glorietta ends up choking like a toad, and the chandelier suddenly drops to enter the audience, killing the new concierge. The Phantom, having abducted Christine from her dressing room, reveals himself as Eric, a detained former conjurer who lives in the cellars beneath the opera house, and has been one tutoring her. Eric intends to keep her in his lair with him for a few days, but she causes him to change his plans when she unmasks him, and to the horror of both, beholds his noseless, lipless, sunken face, which resembles a skull dried up by centuries, covered in yellow, dead flesh. Fearing that she will leave him, he decides to keep her with him forever, but when Christine requests her leave after 2 weeks, he agrees on one condition, that she wear his ring and be faithful to him. On the roof of the opera house, Christine tells Raoul about her abduction and makes Raoul promise to take her away to a place where Eric can never find her, even if she resists. Raoul tells Christine that he will act on his promise the next day, to which she agrees. However, Christine sympathizes with Eric and decides to sing for him one last time as a means of saying goodbye. Unbeknownst to Christine and Raoul, Eric has been watching them and overheard their whole conversation. The following night, the enraged and jealous Eric abducts Christine during a production of Faust and tries to force her to marry him. Raoul, along with an old acquaintance of Eric's, known as the Persian, attempts to rescue her but is trapped by Eric, who threatens that unless Christine agrees to marry him, he will kill them and everyone in the opera house by using explosive. To save themselves and the people who are above the opera house, Christine agrees to marry Eric. Eric initially tries to drown Raoul and the Persian using the water which would have been used to douse the explosives. But Christine begs and offers to be his living bride, promising him to not kill herself after becoming his bride, as she had both contemplated and attempted earlier in the novel. Eric eventually releases Raoul and the Persian from the torture chamber. When Eric is alone with Christine, he lifts his mask to kiss her on the forehead, and is given a kiss back. Eric reveals he has never received a kiss, not even from his own mother, nor has been allowed to give one, and is overcome with emotions. He and Christine then cry together, and their tears mingled. Eric later says that he has never felt so close to another human being. He allows the Persian Raoul to escape, though not before making Christine promise that she will visit him on his death day and return the gold ring he gave her. He also makes the Persian promise that afterwards he will go to the newspaper and report his death, and as he will die soon and will die of love. Indeed, sometime later, Christine returns to Eric's lair, buries him somewhere he will never be found by Eric's request, and returns the gold ring. Afterwards, a local newspaper runs the simple note, "Eric is dead." In the original novel, a few details are given regarding Eric's past, although there is no shortage of hints and implications throughout the book. Eric himself laments that the fact that his mother was horrified by his appearance, causing him to run away from home at a young age, and that his father, the shoemaster Manson, never saw him. The text also reveals that Eric was not his true birth name, but one that was given or found by an accident. Eric himself says in the work, Lorex sometimes calls him the man's voice. Eric refers to himself the opera ghost, the angel of music, and attends a masquerade as the Red Death. Eventually, Eric was familiar with Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Masque of Red Death. Most of the characters in the history is revealed in it by a mysterious figure, known throughout the novel as the Persian or the Draoga, who had been the local police chief in Persia. Following Eric to Paris, other details are discussed in the novel's epilogue. His birthplace is given a small town outside of Rouen, France. Born hideously deformed, he is a subject of horror for his family, and as a result he runs away from home and falls in with a band of gypsies, making himself a living as an attraction and freak show, where he is known as Les Morts Vivants, the living dead. During this time with the group, Eric becomes a great illusionist, magician, and ventriloquist. His reputation for these skills and his unearthly singing voice spreads quickly, and one day a fur trader mentions him to the Shah of Persia. The Shah orders the Persian to fetch Eric and bring him to the palace. The Shah commissions Eric, who proves himself to be a gifted architect, to construct an elaborate palace in the Mazadarian. This is designed so that so many trapdoors and secret rooms that not even the slightest whisper could be considered private. The design itself carries sounds in a myriad hidden locations, so that one never knew who might be listening. At some point under the Shah's employment, Eric is also a political assassin, using a unique noose referred to as the Punjab lasso. The Persian dwells on the vague horrors that existed the Mazadarian, rather than going to depths into the actual circumstances involved. The Shah, pleased with Eric's work and determined that no one should have such a palace, orders Eric blinded. Thinking that Eric could still make another palace even though without his eyesight, the Shah orders Eric's execution. It is only by the intervention of the Daroga, the Persian, that Eric escapes. He is known too much. He also seems to have traveled from Southeast Asia, since he claims to have learned to breathe underwater using the hollow reed of the Tonkin pirates. By this time, Eric is tired of his nomadic life and wants to live like everybody else. For a time, he is working as a contractor, building ordinary houses with ordinary bricks. He eventually bids on the contract to help the construction of the Palais Garnier, commonly known as the Paris Opera. During the construction, Eric is able to make a sort of playground for himself within the opera house, creating trapdoors and secret passageways throughout the theater. He then even builds himself a house in the cellars of the opera where he lived far away from man's cruelty. Eric has spent 20 years composing a piece entitled Don Juan Triomphant. In one chapter, after he takes Christine to his lair, she asks him to play a piece for her from his masterwork. He refuses and says, I will play you Mozart if you like, in which will only make you weep, but my Don Juan, Christine, burns. Eventually, after she wrenched off his mask and seen his deformed face, he begins to play it. Christine said that at first it seems to be one of an awful sob, but then becomes alert to its nuisance and power, as the music is able to convey to her as the misery he had endured throughout his life and hoped he finally felt for love. Upon completion, Eric originally plans to go to his bed, which is a coffin, and never wake up. But at the final chapters of the novel, during which Eric kidnaps Christine right from the stage performance, Eric expresses his wishes to marry Christine and live comfortably life after his work has been completed. He has stored a massive amount of gunpowder on the opera house should she refuse his offer, and plans to detonate it. When he returns, he found Christine waiting for him like a real living wife, and swore she tilted her forehead towards him and kissed it. Then he says so happily that he fell at her feet, crying, and she cries with him, calling him poor unhappy Eric, taking his hand. At this point, he is just a poor dog ready to die for her. So, what do y'all think of the story of the Phantom of the Opera? Now, this is the first time for the channel for any novelization, but hey, it's cool that we have it on here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until then, this is Misaki, logging out.
Thank you for watching the video, Senpai. If you liked it, please leave a like or a comment. Subscribe if you want to see more, and make sure you ring the bell to be notified when we upload another video. Thank you again for watching Chaldea Gurus. Good luck and fight hard, Senpai!